Hello guys, and welcome back to another episode of Endless Space. Now in the last video, I asked you guys to try and come up with some ideas for a name for a new ship type. And I'm quite disappointed to say that I didn't have one single comment on a video which I think has about 200 views. Not a single comment and no suggestion of a name. I mean, come on guys, don't make me have to think of names for stuff because, you know, I'm just totally uncreative when it comes to that sort of thing. But needless to say, what I'm going to do now is just start picking on people. So I'm going to create a new ship type because I need a ship which is a... we had a new hull, didn't we? Let's get this right. The Destroyer. There we go. We need our new Destroyer type class. Now I'm going to go the auto upgrade route for now. And it's mainly put missiles and deflection on there. Not necessarily sure those are the best modules. Now I did say in the last video, one of the things that I hadn't noticed before was that you've got these range things to change effective ranges. Now what I remember on this game before the expansion pack is these didn't exist. Kinetic was short range, beam was mid range, missile was long range. And now it seems that that's no longer the case. You can actually change their effective range, which I find very strange. I mean, I think, to be honest, missiles should really be long range, to be fair. Although I can't have as many on, apparently. And what are we deflecting here? Long range deflection? I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work. I've actually read through the manual for this, the upgraded manual, and it does mention these, but it doesn't actually say how it works in any way, shape, or form. The old way used to be simple. You just used to know which of these it was. Missiles was always long range, and space battles take place in 3 phases. You have the long range, the medium range, and the melee phase. You hardly ever get to the melee phase because you normally win or lose the fight in the long range phase. Occasionally it gets to the medium range phase. So you never used to bother with things like kinetic weapons and deflection. You'd just go with flak and missiles, possibly shields. But we'll see how this works out. This is a bit of an experimental ship, I suppose. So this is going to be the Shadowhawk class of vessel. This is going to be our sacrificial pawn, which we send in to absorb the enemy firepower. So we are going to need to get a few of those built. So we're going to go to Gaikon, the home world, which is currently doing nothing. It's just converting industry into science. So let's get rid of that. So what we want to do, we want to get ourselves a couple of Shadowhawk class ships. We also want to build another colony ship. Now the reason I want to do that, in fact, I'm going to put the colony ship to the front of the queue. The reason that I'm going to do that is because once we actually manage to get out to these planets here, we might find something nice that we want to nab pretty much straight away. I'm going to move this ship here, which I think is just a scout, which it is, it says down here. I'm going to move this ship out here. It doesn't really need to sit on that planet anymore because we've got vision there because it is inhabited. So we're just going to bring that scout a little bit closer to the front line. In fact, I might actually bring it up here at some point because that way we can actually use it to help us explore once we open these. So let's go on to the next turn. Now, even though you can only travel along these lines, there is a technology which you can unlock later on in the game that does allow you to just fly directly between star systems pretty much in a straight line, bypassing these things. So you do have to be careful there to a degree. Completed constructions. Myra has now finished its exoscience stations. So what can we build here on Myra? Well, Myra doesn't really have anything else that it can build at the moment, but it does have a lot of production. It's got 65 production, so let's see how long it takes us to build Shadowhawk class ships. So it only takes 1 turn to build a Shadowhawk class destroyer here, and it was taking 2 turns on the homeworld, so we're definitely going to queue a few of those up. We should definitely be building ships because that is what we do. Let's have a quick look at the tax rate. We haven't looked at that for a while. We are generally content. I mean, it could be better. It'd be nice if it was. I don't want people being unhappy. Very, very difficult to get people very, very happy. But I think 25% for the time being is good. Although I've got money in reserve. So I'm going to drop it down to 20%. Or I don't know, actually. Higher tax is better work. Can we risk it up to 30? We can, but I think I'll leave it at 25. It's always difficult to know just how to balance that. But that's our completed production, so let's carry on and move that scout. We won't get all the way there, but it is close, and we'll end that turn. Once we start to get out through these lanes here to these planets, we are going to start having a few issues with pirates and such like. And, okay, we have another construction completed. So, Myra has already completed one of the Shadowhawk class ships. Now, as you can see, under statistics, the second line is Command 1, because every ship has a certain number of command points, and there's a limit to the number of command points that you can have in a squad, or a fleet, or whatever they want to call them. So, as you can see down here, if you look at our fleet size, here, for example, it says 1 of 5. That's because the scout takes up 1 command point, and the maximum command points we can have in a fleet is 5. Again, technologies allow you to upgrade that later on. So let's just carry on with things moving. So we can do mixed fleets, providing, of course, you don't over-exceed the command point limit. Okay, completed constructions. We have yet another one of these ships. See, they're really, really pumping out fast on Myra. This is a very, very good place to be making ships, and quickly. What's that fleet we've got there? We've got a couple of defenders. So we could move those defenders out to... What have we got there? That's a scout. So let's move these defenders over here, just so we can help. I did have them there because that was a more centralised planet, but the defenders move relatively quickly. And what have we got here? Review all fleets without orders. Our scout has arrived. You can just sit there for the time being, and we'll end the turn. Up to 624 dust at the moment, which is actually quite nice. Get the ships to finish their movement, and they managed to get there nicely. Okay, so Athero has completed whatever it was building, the Colonial Exchange. It's now working on sustainable farms, which is going to give it a bit more food. And we've got more productions completed. Mira has now finished its last Shadowhawk ship. I don't think we're going to build another one of those, although it might be worth having another colonial ship, because that's only going to take 4 turns. And Gaikon has now finished its colonial ship there. So we're going to go to Myra, and we're going to take our 3 Shadowhawk class destroyers, and we're going to create a fleet, and we're going to move that fleet over here to the front. Might be worth actually at some point also building another couple of defenders. So I'm going to add those to the list over here. Let's just have a quick look at that tax rate again. I don't think we actually need to put it up. Everyone's happy and we're not spending money at the moment. We're 1 turn away from having a science complete. So those defenders, they can stay there for now. I'm happy with that. And let us go on to the next turn. Okay, so what do we have that has happened? The Call of Distant Constellations. This is one of the random game events. You have discovered the technology required to safely traverse wormholes that link constellations. So now we can actually go down these lanes here and see what is about. We don't have any research queued up, so we need to take a look at that. So we could colonize deserts, which could be quite useful. We could go into here, which would give us additional population on smaller worlds, which would also be useful. Although I don't want to neglect upgrading our ability to fight. We are very much about combat. Though it would also be nice to get some of the upgrades here. Now, sabotage. This thing here, these things are basically cards you can play during the combat phases. And it's a mini game that's a little bit like rock, paper, scissors, which I'll demonstrate when we get to one of those. But having things like that can be quite useful. Of course, having upgraded engines and things is also quite useful. So I think what we are going to do, we are going to go for these 2 techs to get those. And then we're going to start working our way up towards some of the better weapon upgrades for our ships. Quite a few things that we do need to pick up along the way, but we will do those in due course. Let's close that. Let's allow all ships to finish their movement. So what we have here, we have our defenders and we have our Shadowhawk class in Delta and Zeta. If I hit Control and select them both, I now have the option to merge them, and that will take them up to the full 5 command points. And we now have a fleet that has 3 Shadowhawk class destroyers and 2 defenders. What I'm going to do is move this scout forward and get it to travel the wormhole if it can. Also, is that... oh, those are 2 more defenders. Did I not have another scout somewhere? Let's move those forwards anyway, see what they can find. So, we have found a world that we could potentially colonize. This discovery will have no effect as you have no hero in your fleet. Well, that's fine. We don't have a fleet hero yet, actually. We probably should think about getting one at some point. Don't think we can hire another one yet, or can we? Now, you're a pilot. We probably should hire you. So, we've now hired a fleet hero. We're going to assign him to a fleet, and we're going to assign him to Zeta, which is our big fleet. And he will give us some bonuses and benefits for that. Now, where is Zeta? Can you actually reach here? Don't suppose you've got any movement left, so... this scout has no orders, apparently. We want you to go down to there. It's always like a 1 jump when you use these little wormholes. So as you can see, this is the sort of centering now that we're heading towards. A new exploration ship is created on Migrashi, which is nice, because that basically gives us a new and free scout, which is Delta, because it's got movement left, 9 of 9. So we can take that, we can instantly pop over here and have a look what we have on this system. So we have another system there. What have we got here? Got a large tundra. Does have hostile fauna though, which doesn't sound fun. It causes -10 happiness on the planet there. Not a bad system. It's got a bit of science, got a bit of production. Got quite a bit of production actually with the 2 lava worlds, but we can't currently colonize those, so that's not ideal. Of course, we've got Migrashi here, which has 2 colonizable worlds. Again, Shattered Crust, which is +2 production, but -1 dust. Would give us potential access to Voidstone. Not an amazing system though. Only 2 planets, and they're both pretty small, so not really far to spread there. It's probably not worth picking up. And here, the only thing we can pick up is this little small arid planet here, with -20 happiness and -1 production per population. So I think we'll be avoiding that one. No effect, no hero in the fleet. I thought we'd dismissed that. Science is done. Something has no orders, which is this scout, which still has some movement left. So let's get you over to this protostar. And we have discovered another race. And they want to go into battle with us. So, this is what happens when you end up in a battle. This is my fleet. This is their fleet. As you can see, I have 1 scout. They have 3 caretaker class ships. At a glance, you can see fleet power. I have 21. They have 213, which is not an ideal thing. Now, these things here are actually quite new, the targeting and formation. Now, as you can see, this is the chance of winning. This is my chance of coming out of this fight on top. This is the AI's chance of coming out on top, the automatons. I'm not going to get involved in this fight. I'm going to do my best to run away. So, actions to play. My first action that I'm going to play is retreat. And I'm going to put this on auto. I don't really see an awful lot of point in actually showing you it for it to work. So I did manage to successfully retreat, but we do know where they are. And we know that their fleet has a power of 213. If we actually find my fleet that has my hero on, we have a power of 652. So we're going to be paying them a visit shortly. So we have encountered the automatons. We have completed research. And we are not alone. Yes, we know that. We're going to end the turn. Now, we definitely need to have a defensive fleet here. on my isle, just to stop them bringing any more units down. We did have a couple of extra defenders. I'm going to continue to send these scouts around and uncover as many of these systems as we can. Can't settle anywhere there. You don't have any movement left. Right, we've got a couple of defenders there. I think what we're going to do is bring them down here and use them as a bit of a scout. And then get them over here. We want to take Fleet Zeta, which is going to be our fleet for kicking butt. Move you over there. I think we'll actually move both fleets down. What is Alpha? I think Alpha is just a scout. Indeed it is. So we have a scout there now. Let's move you over here. And Zeta, do you have any movements left? I think it uses all your movement going through a wormhole. So we did manage to retreat with this scout. It has taken a bit of damage, but we'll send it on down here and try and explore. And there we go. So we've got a few worlds here that we could potentially colonize, although a lot of them we don't have the required tech at the moment. Plus 20% production on system for 5 turns. Quite nice. Still building ships here at Gaikon. This scout has... You can move down there actually. It's got a little bit of movement left. Now let's just have a look and see how ships are going. We've got... What have we got in the hangar here? We have a colonial ship and we have a Shadowhawk class ship here. We're currently building another Shadowhawk destroyer, so let's have another one. And what's Myra currently producing? Defenders. You can queue up another couple of Shadowhawk ships as well. We're going to need a lot of ships. The automatons are not going to be friendly. In fact, if we look in diplomacy, don't think we can actually do anything with them. We can declare war, of course. We've got technology options. We're currently neutral, so it's a bit of a cold war. But they did want to fight my fleet. Admittedly, I was in their space, which was a little bit harsh. But I think the earlier we can get them sorted out, the better. There's probably going to be another one of these wormholes going off in this direction somewhere, so we are going to need to try and find that. Also, if we start attacking things nice and early, it will allow us to get our... what's the word? It will allow us to get our hero some XP. Also, I think this is actually their homeworld. Yeah, I think that's actually their homeworld. We could potentially take their homeworld straight away. I mean, admittedly, we don't actually have any fleets that have the ability... Yeah, we don't have any invasion ability yet. But we are definitely going to take Zeta. And we are going to move into their backyard. You've got 2 movement left. You're not going to be able to get there, which is a shame. So let's continue with the exploration. You are defenders. You're moving over here. As you can see, we've discovered some stuff there. Now, what's that one there? Interesting. Fulcrum siphons. So these are basically wonders like the natural wonders that you get in Civilization. So they're dotted around on a few various different planets. And it basically gives us plus 10 happiness on the planet. It does need a restoration, but obviously we'd have to colonize that and get all of the required technologies. We could colonize that, though it is toxic. -2 food per population and -20 happiness on planet. So you really do need a lot of technologies before you're able to sort some of this stuff out. So let's have a look. We have a scout here. Let's start using our scouts to explore some of these planets. I would like to move up here and see what that is. This is also a scout, so let's start moving out to these outer planets. What is that? That, I believe, is a pirate. Now, I can't do an awful lot about that, although it doesn't have a lot of health. There is a potential we could do this. Of course, we could also lose a scout. Because I don't think I'm not sure if our scouts actually have any health. Any weaponry, to be honest. Let's just have a quick look. Oh, they do have some. They have kinetic weapons, but that's not a great deal. What else do we have around? We have another scout. Right, let's bring those 2 defenders back. I've got to do something about this, of course, because it's an impending battle. It's already attacked somebody, because it's only on half of its health. Let's go for it. So, there are 3 phases. You can actually change these phases during the fight. You can automate it or go into manual. But just for the sake of this video, we're going to do a manual one. So, I get to choose what my 3 phases are. And these are the things we have available to us as options. You always have retreat as an option. And then you have various different things that counter certain things. So basically it's rock, paper, scissors. So for example, defense counters offense. So if he plays offense in his first... if he plays offense for his long range and we play defense, we come out slightly better. So I don't know what he's actually going to go for. What he might well go for is offense first. So we could go for defense. But engineering counters sabotage, but gives us more armor points. But tactics counters engineering. So there's a lot of things to go for. So I think what we're going to go for, we're going to go for defense first. For the mid-range, we are going to go for sabotage. And then if we get into melee, we are going to go for offense. And we can change these on the fly. So we're going to go into manual. And this will take us into what is basically just a cinematic representation of the fight. So this is my ship here. Focus on the first ship. There's only one ship anyway, so it's not going to make a lot of difference. You can change the camera around automatically. This is just the arrival. When this little circle at the bottom gets to phase 2, we will be in the long range phase. And now we're going to start blowing the crap out of each other. So he's got engineering, we've got defense, which puts us on pretty equal footing. Those pirate ships look really, really gnarly. I can't do an awful lot at long range, especially with a scout. Now this would have exactly the same outcome if we did it on automatic, except this way it just allows us to be able to change these things on the fly. So I can still change my medium range tactic if I want to until we hit the medium range, which is now. Now, I actually lost that one because he went engineering and I went sabotage. So I get the red cross, he gets the yellow plus. So he has a slight advantage during this phase. He has taken a little bit of damage and so have I. And we're just concentrating on... There's no point in having a formation because there's only one ship. You can tell it to focus fire on one particular ship, which you couldn't do before. These are both things that are new. So we're going into the melee phase, and we've both gone weapon overclock, so we're pretty equal here. This fight could go either way at this point. We've both sustained pretty heavy damage. Not an awful lot left of my health, but not a lot left of his either. If it gets to a point where it gets to the end of the melee phase, and neither of us has been destroyed, and I think he has actually just been destroyed. Yep, there he goes, he's just blown up. If it had have gotten to the end of the phase, we'd have just both mutually retreated, and then we could have continued the fight on a following turn. Or we could have, if I'd have had a second fleet there, I could have got the second fleet to engage and have another crack at taking him out. But either way, we won the fight. We've taken a bit of damage there, so it's going to take some time to heal that. But that was our first encounter, and it was pirates. So we did that. We know we've discovered that wonder. We'd found that. Those are fine. Finish ship's movement. What is that? That's a scout. Let's continue scouting. Probably going to run into lots of pirates now. Okay. Scout. Where are you, Scout? I do not see you. Must be that one there. Let's get you here. Probably just going to find loads of pirates everywhere now. And you are going to come back to relatively safe territory until you've healed up a little bit. So let's end the turn there. And we have a science complete, which is fine because we've got a few queued up. We've also got some ships built. Let's finish the movement. Okay, we have found another wonder on this, which is the Stellar Borer. And what does that give us? Let's just have a look here on this. Of course, it's on a desert planet, so we can't colonize it yet. Plus 25% approval on planet. That would be really nice. This isn't actually too bad a system. It is quite small because it only has, you know, these smaller planets we can colonize for now. But mineral rich is good because it gives us an extra 3 production per population. And there's already 3 production on this planet, so that could be a good one to colonize. Small tundra gives us an extra 2 dust and 2 science per person on planet. So good production there as well. This could be a nice little system to colonize, actually. I'm going to keep that one in mind. Obviously, we do have to be careful because it is going to be something that we need to defend. There is a bit of movement left on this scout, so I'm going to send it down here. Hopefully not run into more pirates. There's our half-dead scout. Those are our defenders, which I think we're going to leave there because that's a good sort of midpoint for everything else. What we are going to do is we are going to go in for... Actually, what's that there? Is that another scout? Yeah, let's just scout this world out if we can. Didn't quite make it there. Okay, now let's go and try and attack these guys here. 2 defenders and 2 Shadowhawk class ships. It's not going to let me in. The reason it's not going to let me in is because I'm not at war with them. And this little circle, like the red circles around my planets, represent territory. So I cannot enter into their territory unless we are at war. The only reason it allowed me to do it last time is because I didn't know it was their territory. I went through the wormhole, found myself in their territory. We can resolve that problem by going instantly to war with them. So let's go and have words. Declare war. Offer. I love how you have to offer going to war. But now we can move into their territory. Now, they may have more than one fleet here. As you can see, they do actually have 2 different fleets, though they're both pretty much as weak as each other. But this is their homeworld, so it's going to be well worth doing this. So, now I have the option to attack a fleet. As you can see, we've every chance of winning this one, but we are still going to go in and do it manually. Now, what you'll notice here is we've now got the weapon disruption because we unlocked the technology that allows us to do that. Now, most of these are free. You will find the odd 1 or 2 that requires dust, which will tell you in the top right-hand corner. And sometimes you also get ones that only are available if you have a specific hero on board because it's a hero ability. So we're going to go for defense on the long range. That helped us out last time quite nicely. Then I think we will go for the... actually, no, we're going to go for disruption. Then we're going to go for magnetic field. Let's go tactics. That's what we're going to go for. Now, they've got 3 ships. Targeting. We can focus on the first ship. 1/3 of your fleet targets the first 3 ships. Or each of your ships targets the first enemy ship of the list which is not targeted, or is the least targeted. I think we are going to try and take out 1 ship at a time. Go for the nosebreaker. Our formation, I think we are going to go for the defensive formation. Ships with the highest defense are at the top of the list. So that should be the Shadowhawk class destroyers, because I think they've got more health. They have, where's their statistics? Hit points 652, and the defenders, they've both got the same hit points. That's fine then. Okay, so let's go into manual and see how this battle turns out. You'll notice, of course, that their ships are going to look a little bit different because they're a different race, unlike the pirates that we had on the previous phase. So there's their 3 little caretaker ships. Here is our fleet jumping in. So you can see we've got the 2 defenders at the top of the screen there, and the 3 cylindrical ships at the bottom are our Shadowhawk class destroyers. So, looks like we drew pretty even on the long range phase. You can actually see, if you look in the bottom corners, you can see the status of the individual ships. And if you look in the top corners here, you can see the status of the fleet in general. They are taking slightly more damage than us at the moment, though there's been no heavy casualties. Actually, scrap that. Caretaker 2 is down. They've lost 1 of their ships already. Now entering the medium range phase, and again, we both pretty much drew paper on that one, so we are even. We have taken a little bit of damage. One of our Shadowhawk ships has taken a scratch to the paintwork, but it's still up and running. Those defenders are certainly putting out the firepower. So the medium range phase has been pretty negative for everybody, although they have lost another ship. So we are now down to 5 versus 1. And again, we've both just drawn rock on that one, so we are still pretty much the same. So one of our Shadowhawk class destroyers is taking a little bit of damage, but on the whole, the fleet is doing quite well. I think as soon as our missiles hit, which looks like they're just about to land, they should be losing that ship. And they have. There we go. That is another fleet wipe, and we hardly took any damage on that. It was mainly to one ship. Quite pleased about that. So we'll get a little bit of experience on our hero. One of our ships is a little bit battered, but that is not the end of the world there. So as you can see, hero levels up. He's actually level 3 now. He's actually gained 2 levels, which is fantastic. So, what we want to do is give him abilities. We can give him defense and we can give him offense. What I'd like to do is give him defense. I don't want to lose many more ships, so let's give him defense and let's give him defender 2. Hit accept. He's going to get a lot of XP during the course of this playthrough, so we'll be able to give him the offense and the defense. We also need to make sure that we get some ships with modules that allow us to assault enemy planets so that we can actually do some damage here. Now, as you can see, if we look here, he's now down to 1 fleet, but he does have another fleet, which does mean that he could attack us on his turn if he wanted to. We're going to leave this scout here. Now, you can repair, but it must be in one of your own systems. So what we should probably do, actually, is take that scout and move it back home, just for the time being. And we've got these defenders here, and they're going to sit there for a while. Everyone else is pretty much as far as they can go, so I think we can have one more turn. Now, what they will probably do on their turn is attack my fleet with their other fleet. There's every possibility that they are going to do that. But they appear not to have. Okay, that's interesting. Exploration event FIDS. That gives us an extra plus 10 science. Brilliant. Now, do we want to risk having a look through here? Yes, we do. And we have found the amoebas, who have a massive fleet there. So we are going to be retreating. Now, let's just put that on auto, because all we're doing is running away. Hopefully we can. We manage it. We did take a bit of damage in the process, but we did. So we've now found the amoebas, and we've found their homeworld. So it looks like this is the centre of the system, and pretty much everybody has started with their homeworld just 1 or 2 jumps behind. Well, I guess we're lucky, because my homeworld is actually not directly at the end of a wormhole. The automatons are directly behind a wormhole. And the amoebas are directly behind a wormhole. So that's not particularly good. Now, I would like to stay friends with the amoebas if possible, at least for as long as possible. I don't want to have multiple wars. There isn't really a lot that I can do with them at the moment. So we're at Cold War, which means we're neutral. Of course, they could go to war with me, which wouldn't be particularly fun. That scout also has taken some damage, so we're going to have to get him sorted out as soon as possible. I think Nis I am going to colonise. I think that would be a good planet to have. We do have a colonial ship here, as well as 3 Shadowhawk class ships. I'm going to create a fleet here and move them all down as a fleet to Nis, which will be absolutely fine. Gycon has now finished whatever it was producing, so let's go back there. Nothing it can really build on the system that would be useful, so let us carry on and queue up some more Shadowhawk class ships for the time being. We haven't had a look at the, not the science, haven't had a look at the tax rates for a while. I guess we could go up to 30% for now, shouldn't be too difficult. So yeah, we know we have met the amoebas. Okay, still building stuff there. Ships finalising their movement. Okay, what have we got? We've got this scout here. Let's have a look down there, see what we find. Nothing too terrifying, but that should have used up all of our movement. There was these 2 defenders. I think you're going to go over here to Ursa, actually. Simply because those guys are very, very strong. And we have the option to fight and take out their other fleet. So we're going to do the same thing. Can't remember what they went for last time. So let's go for offense to begin with. Then let's go for engineering. And then let's go for short circuit. There probably is a strategy to it. But I think it's more down to actually knowing your enemy. Knowing what technology they've got and knowing what they favour. I don't know it well enough to do that really, so I'm just kind of randomly picking on stuff. So I think we should still go for Nosebreaker and concentrate on one ship at a time. It seems more sensible because the more ships you reduce, the less damage you're going to take. Formation we can't actually change, actually. I think formation you have to do before the fight starts, so we are in default formation. Do want to try and babysit our Shadowhawk class ship here because it has taken some damage in the previous round. But hopefully we'll be able to do enough damage here. They actually got the advantage with magnetic field on that round as well, so we will take a little bit more damage. Of course, I should be able to reinforce quite easily if this fight does go badly. And they've lost one ship already, so it's not going that badly. We both went for a similar thing on that round, so neither of us gains a specific advantage. It's pretty much a stalemate. I think when you're firing a lot of these long-range ballistic missiles, it looks like you're not doing any damage, and then all of a sudden all of the missiles hit at the same time, and all of a sudden they just lose one of their ships. Though they haven't lost one yet, and we're now entering the melee phase. They might actually keep one of their ships alive here, but they are taking some damage. We're still doing quite well. We don't appear to have taken much more damage than we had already sustained before we started, but halfway through the melee phase yet, and we've failed to take out one of their ships. We do have the advantage this round because we went short circuit and they went magnetic field. Very, very close to the end of the melee phase, I hope, at the very least. Yet we have managed to take one of them down, and it is classed as a draw because we both have ships remaining. So what happens now that it's a draw? Well, it goes back to the status quo. Both fleets are still in orbit of the system. They have what they had left, and so do we. But our hero did get another level up. So let's give him a skill. What can we do? Battle action. Ultimate defense requires Defender 2. 25% deflection on players' deflectors. 25% interception on players' anti-missiles. Or 25% absorption on players' shields. That's a lot of extra defense there, isn't it? Team Spirit. 3 damage per ship class on fleet. Well, 3% damage per ship class on fleet, so that's good for having lots of different classes. So obviously the current fleet has 2 different classes of ship, so that would give us an extra 6% damage, so that could be quite nice. We could of course just go for Defender 3, which would be really, really good. Extra movement on the fleet, engine tuner, that would be quite useful, but I don't think we really need it. I think what we're going to go for is that, plus 3% damage per ship class on fleet. That will be quite useful. Now, what happens is, even though, obviously, you assume that the leader is on one of these ships, he isn't on one of the ships specifically, which means if 4 of those ships get destroyed, it's counted that the hero is on the 5th ship. The hero doesn't die unless the entire fleet is killed. And then, even then, I don't think they're permanently dead. I can't remember the mechanic for that. We have encountered the United Empire. This is something that I didn't take into consideration, something that I forgot, and that is you can have the same empire more than once, which is the situation we appear to be in at the moment here. So we have another United Empire on the map. I'm going to carry on scouting as much as I can. That scout did take a bit of a whack, but we need to have a look around. Of course, it's any planet that has these stars above them, or any star system that has these stars above them, means that they're uncharted. They're undiscovered. No one has been there yet. And by going there, you actually receive these bonuses. So 1 XP on Alpha Fleet. Well, that's useless, isn't it? You have mapped half the known galaxy. So this is actually quite a small map, all things considered. Things have been built, but that is fine. Execute all remaining moves. Defenders are going to Ursa, which we knew about. Got a couple of ships with nothing to do. Got a scout there with not a lot of health, so let's withdraw you. And what do we have here? This is a scout that we want to repair. That's going to cost us some money, but not too bothered about that. And now that you are repaired, we can get you to go and have a look at some of the planets we've missed. And as this is a new turn, I think they've actually brought another fleet in. Yes, they have. They've actually brought in another fleet. Now, enemy fleet, the one at the top there, only has 2 ships out of 3. which is the one we were fighting last time, because you can see they haven't moved. They've still got 9 of 9 movement. Now, yes, they did have only 1 ship left, but they may have built another one on the planet and they've reinforced. And we saw the other fleet fly in, and that's why they've only got 5 of 9. Now, the problem I've got here is I can engage enemy fleets, but I can't choose which of the fleets I engage. I believe that's up to the defender. So we're probably going to end up attacking his full health fleet. Indeed we are. So we've still got the best chance of winning here. We are going to go for barrier first, I think. Then we're going to go for weapon overclock. Then we're going to go for magnetic field and see how that works. We'll go into another manual fight just so we can see it. They are nice to watch. They're nice and cinematic. But as it goes on and we start getting involved more heavily in fights, I'll probably skip quite a lot of them out. Again, I forgot to change the formation. It's because it wasn't in the base game, so I keep forgetting that I need to do that. I also like how you actually see the various things in the system. You know, the actual backdrop does represent what the system is supposed to look like regarding the star, the asteroid belts, and the planets and satellites and things. That is really, really nice to see. Yeah, medium range, we're also going to go for nosebreaker. Let's keep targeting down 1 ship at a time. Get as many of them down as possible. We've already got 1 of them down, which is great. Again, we're taking a bit of a battering on one of our Shadowhawk class ships, but that's not too much of a problem because we can, say, bring another one in. So there's one of their ships down. We're now into the medium phase, and melee we're going nosebreaker as well. I always think it's much more sensible to just take out 1 attacking vessel at a time. The less units they have, the less damage they're going to be able to inflict. But they did come out slightly better than us on the medium range because they went magnetic field and I went weapon overclock. And it looks like this may well be another fight where they end up getting away with 1 or 2 of their ships. Of course, they could then merge the 2 damaged fleets together and create 1 bigger fleet. Looks like at the very least they're going to lose another ship before this phase is over. Are we going to actually hit? Yes, we did hit. They have lost another ship, and it's going to be another draw. So that's 2 fleet battles there that we've managed to draw, but we didn't lose any ships on either of them, and we have done a significant amount of damage to them both times. Now, what it might be worth doing, actually, is me colonising one of these planets here, just so I've got somewhere that I can repair my ships up. Although there's nowhere here that actually gives me anything that is particularly nice. I mean, this would be nice. It cost me a little bit of... I mean, you get unhappiness anyway, just because it's arid. But it is shattered crust, which would give me extra production. So maybe that isn't a bad place to go for either. We did have another colony ship that was built or was being built, which is here. So let's create that fleet. And we're going to move this fleet down to there. I'm just going to move them as a fleet because they're all protecting each other. Myra is producing another Shadowhawk class ship. Nothing else that we can really build at the moment. We do need to get some more research done. So let's have a quick look at the approval. All looks good. I think we'll just put that back down to 25% there. Hero gets another upgrade. So what do we give him this time? Engine tuner would be nice, but we're fighting over 1 planet, so it's not really all that useful. Not a lot of point giving them. I mean, it would give him +1 melee and +1 offense, but I don't think he needs that. Tactician, -6% accuracy to enemy weapons. That could be very useful. But let's give him Defender 3 for a start. Maybe we'll pick up Tactician on the next upgrade. So you can already see what we are getting from him here. Actually, let's go back in now we've finalised that. So 20% extra damage minimum on fleet weapons and 20% damage maximum on fleet weapons. 20% actual power on all fleet weapons, plus 25% defense on a star system, but he's not currently on a star system because he's on a fleet. Plus 50% to the invasion power of a fleet. Now, obviously, the fleet doesn't have any invasion power, so that doesn't really affect it at the moment. Plus 60% on fleet defenses. So, yeah, he's providing quite a bit of defense to us. A little bit of offense as well, but a lot of defense. So there we go. That's pretty much all we can do there. When we get onto the next video, we'll be doing a bit more exploring. I think we've found everybody now, haven't we? There are only 4 players, and there's another United Empire, which is a bit of a shame. The Amoebans aren't completely happy with us now. Then we're neutral, but their opinion of us is going down, which is a bit of a shame. They do have a massive fleet, though, so we've got to be really, really careful with those. But there you go. That is Endless Space. Remember, if you do have any ideas for names for ship types and you'd like to submit them to me, please do, and I'll try and include them in the game. But until then, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time. So goodbye for now.